And welcome back to Hannity. Now, although the world is focusing on the ISIS terror network in Iraq and Syria, we must point out that the rise of radical Islam is not just confined to the Middle East. Now, my next guest, a controversial Muslim cleric in London, has advocated for Britain to become an Islamic state and follow Sharia law. Now, last week, Imam Anjem Choudary tweeted, "Whatever Prime Minister David Cameron and Home Secretary Theresa may do, they cannot stop the rise of the awakening giant called the Muslim Ummah. Sharia will one day be the law in the UK." And that's not all. The main suspect in the beheading of U.S. journalist James Foley was reportedly radicalized by Chowdary's followers. And to explain himself in a Hannity exclusive is Imam Anjem Choudary. You have blamed the killing of this photojournalist on America. Now, whatever military reaction that we had in Mosul and the surrounding areas was in reaction to ISIS demanding convert to Islam or die. Do you support ISIS demanding that Christians, the Yazidis, convert to Islam or die? Do you support that?
Well, there's two questions here. One about what the Islamic State are actually asking the non-Muslims to do and how this particular incident began. In fact, I seem to remember people were shocked and awed over 10 years ago when the Americans carpet bombed this area and killed hundreds of thousands of people.
I ask you a simple question.
We had Abu
do
Ghraib.
you support, hang on a second. Do you support convert to Islam or die?
I'll answer it the way I want to answer it.
Well, answer the question.
The way I want to answer it. The fact is, well, I'm answering it. Allow me to. The fact is that this has a precursor. Every cause has an effect. If the Americans bomb and murder hundreds of thousands of people and they torture people and they continue to do so in Guantanamo Bay, obviously this will have repercussions. I think it was your own master, George Bush, who said, either you're with us or with the terrorists. And, you know, we're not with America, definitely, so we must be with the terrorists. I think that
so you're with the terrorists.
Isolated
do you,
most of the
now
world.
You can answer my question. Do you support ISIS telling Christians, the Yazidis, in Mosul, northern Iraq, that they must convert to Islam, pay a tax, or die? What do you think of that?
This is simply false. It didn't happen. The fact is that the Muslims in the Islamic State, well, allow me to answer the question.
Happened.
The Muslims in the Islamic State, the Muslims in this,
they've been chased out of their homes. Children, obviously you need an education.
And then I'll answer the question when you finish.
Let me educate you, because obviously you're pretty ignorant. But we have video of children that have been beheaded, like this photojournalist, women and children with their heads placed on a stick after they've been beheaded, and we have one report after another of people who have been killed, chased out of their homes. They're in the Sinjar Mountains. The world is dropping food to support them and to protect them from radical friends of yours that you obviously support. And I'm just asking, do you support the concept of an Islamic caliphate of either convert or die? Do you support that? It's a simple question. Why don't you just tell the truth what you believe?
Can I answer the question without interruption, or you want to ask another question?
Come on, go ahead. Do you support convert or die?
What you're talking about is complete falsehood. First of all, the Yazidis, whoever went to the mountain even before the Islamic State came to their area. First of all, they said there were 40,000. Then they said there were 20,000. Then they went down. Eventually they said there were a couple of hundred and they were living in the mountains anyway, in villages. So this was a complete pack of lies in order to demonize and vilify the Islamic State. And by the way, there's nothing called ISIS anymore. There's a Khalifa. Secondly, the Christians are actually queuing up to come back into Mosul because they realize that life under the Sharia is much better than the Nouri al-Maliki regime, which the Americans propped up and who was murdering and torturing the people in the region.
Okay,
remember, we haven't forgotten about Abu Ghraib, and we haven't
You're writing your own history.
Wait a second.
You're not being honest. You're wasting our time.
Let me educate you. Let me educate you now.
You're not honest.
The fact is that
your show and I'll be a guest on your show.
Tortured people for over 10 years in Guantanamo Bay. They are still there. Let me ask you a question.
They're called terrorists.
Would you prefer to be killed in a swift manner, or would you prefer to be tortured for 10 years,
I would take you,
ritually and sexually abused?
I would take you, and I would take all your friends, and I would take the guy that beheaded this photojournalist. I'm giving you an answer.
You prefer waterboarding?
I give you an answer. I'll say it in your mosque.
Sexual abuse, or would you prefer quick death? Which one would you prefer?
Listen closely to the answer.
What about Sister Afia Siddiqui?
If you shut up, I'll give you an answer. Listen,
let's talk about Abdurrahman.
I would take every terrorist like you.
What about your drones? How
Do
many
you want an
people
answer?
how many people have you
don't want an
beheaded
answer.
with your drones and your vacuum bombs and your daisy cutters? The only weapons
right.
of mass destruction which you found in Iraq were the ones you dropped yourself.
Here's what's
by the way.
eventually going to
I don't know
happen.
if you know
Eventually,
that.
the world's going to wake up to what I would say, and every radical Islamist like you will be wiped off the face of the earth because you have no respect for women. You have no respect for people of other faiths. You have no respect for innocent human life. You are radical, and you want your religion or no religion.
Yeah.
Let me ask you some questions about Sharia.
Let me ask you questions.
Let me ask you about questions about Sharia, which you want to implement. Do you think women? What do you think about women that don't want to cover themselves? Should they be allowed? What would the punishment be if you don't want to cover women under Sharia in Great Britain if you had your way?
Well, I'll tell you something. We don't
What would the
exploit them for
punishment be?
pornography in the fashion and, well, let me answer the question. We don't exploit them through pornography, the fashion and cosmetics industry. Women are not slabs of meat in Islam. They are honored.
Okay.
They are our mothers, our sisters.
And if a woman doesn't want to wear
daughters.
a burqa or
And
a covering, what would the punishment be?
Wait a second. Let me answer the question.
Then you're
You're
not
not
answering the
interested in the
question.
truth. You're interested in your own voice.
I'm asking,
Allow me to
what
answer.
should the punishment be? Are you that dumb and ignorant? Answer it.
Both
What would the punishment be?
Muslim and non-Muslim women will cover themselves. They don't walk around naked like your own mothers
And
and
if
your
they
sisters.
don't cover themselves, what would the punishment be?
They are honored in Islam. They are honored in Islam.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. If a
Well,
woman
that's
is
the law of
raped,
the land. You know,
if
this
a
law
woman
of the
is
law of the
raped
jungle,
under
it's not America.
Sharia,
You're
there is,
talking about
in some
Islamic State,
countries,
yeah.
there is a need for 4 male eyewitnesses for that rape. Do you agree with that?
No, this is nonsense. This is nonsense. They don't implement the Sharia in
Fact.
Saudi Arabia or in Iran.
Okay.
The
In
fact,
Iran,
yeah. And
women
if a
can't
woman
be...
is raped,
in a-
the man will be punished.
And what
Wait a
about
second.
women
If a
that,
woman is
what about
raped,
women
the
that
man will be
commit
punished.
adultery? Should women be stoned to death if they commit adultery?
Both men and women, if they are witnesses,
They should
or
be.
if they are self-confession, of course they will be punished.
What about
in
gay
Islam,
people?
there is
Should gay
punishment.
people
But
be
let me
stoned to
tell you
death?
something.
Should gay people be stoned to death?
Well, you know, homosexuality and bestiality and pedophilia and these things, I think they are your own way of life. I believe in 28
Should they
states.
be stoned to death? I'm asking.
Bestiality is legal in America.
Should-
you know, you
should-
can have a relationship with just about whoever you want. In Islam, Allah created
Okay.
Adam and Eve,
Should
not
gay
Adam and
people-
Steve. So we
should gay
believe
people be stoned to
relationship
death?
between man and woman.
Should gay people be stoned
Well,
to
under
death?
the Islamic State, people will not be doing this relationship in the public arena. If they do, then there will be punishment, of course.
How about in Saudi Arabia, women can't drive and women can't be seen in public without men that they're related to under Sharia? Do you agree with that?
Well, you know, I believe that women, you know, they have a permit to drive if they want to, but at the end of the day, the Khalifa,
they
the
don't.
head of the Islamic State,
They can't drive.
will make a choice. Well, hang about. You're not interested in the
choice.
truth. You keep interrupting.
No freedom.
Look, in Saudi Arabia, they're not implementing the Sharia, by the way, okay? Let's get out of cloud cuckoo land. They're implementing it where? In Iraq and Syria, okay? So let's talk about that. Iran isn't implementing the Sharia. Your friend Bashar al-Assad, who you want to support now, who killed over 200,000 people, is not implementing the Sharia.
All right, let me ask you this. Last
American
question.
policies. The
Last
shock and
question.
awe tactics,
The Quran,
carpet
which you
bombing,
love so
that is
much,
your own way of life,
the
not our way of life.
Quran says that you should take neither Christians nor Jews for your friends. It talks about infidels, and it talks about jihad and holy war. What does that mean to you? I'm a Christian. Are you, as a Muslim, not allowed to be friends with me because the Quran says you can't be friends with me?
Let me tell you something.
And what do you think about Jewish people?
Christians, and Muslims? Okay, let's have another interruption, shall we? Or do you want to answer the question? This is the height of ignorance. You're not interested in the answer.
I don't care
You're
what
interested
you
in your
did.
own voice.
You don't impress me.
Maybe you will learn something if you listen.
I listen.
Maybe you will learn
I'm listening,
something.
but
Maybe
you don't
I can
answer
educate
questions, so I
yeah?
gotta make it simple so that they can get through your thick head.
Shut
So
up
why
for a
don't you-
minute and listen
I'm
to the
asking
answer.
a very
Shut up
simple
for a minute.
question.
Shut up for a minute and listen.
Answer.
Shut up for a
Answer the
minute and listen.
question.
I'm going to answer you. I'm going to answer you.
Finally.
Let me tell you something. In the heart of Europe, for over 800 years, Muslims, Jews, Christians live side by side. Their life, their wealth protected. I believe in a society where we can live together. Unlike the Jews who are bombing Muslims in Palestine. Unlike the Hindus who are bombing Muslims in Kashmir. Unlike your friends, the Nusayris who are bombing people in Syria. We believe in a society where we can live together.
You do.
Our life, our honor, our wealth,
And what
etc. is
about
protected.
Hamas?
For
What
over
about
800
Hamas?
years we lived
4,000
together.
rockets into Israel. Do you condemn that? What
Oh,
about
really?
Hamas's
What about
charter
the
that
2,000
calls
people who
for
were slaughtered
obliteration of Israel?
by the Jews? Hang about. I believe your own channel said that 2,000 people being slaughtered is self-defense. Is that what you believe?
No, what I believe
is, Sean?
if you bomb me with one rocket, I'm going to bomb you with 1,000.
Is that self-defense?
Absolutely, it's self-defense.
So
Israel is defending itself.
That's fine, is it?
100%.
Oh, of course they're defending itself. Of
But you know
course,
what?
If that's not
You have
pathetic,
made a living
I don't know
off
what it is.
being
I think
very
you're
clever
isolated.
in your own
When
way.
you live in America,
But you
when you live in
support
America, you can
radical
believe that.
Islamists.
The rest of the world think you're
You
crazy.
support the caliphate.
Think you're crazy.
You support
Yeah.
Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, ISIL. You support Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
You once said about 9/11, you were very clear that you are on Team Bin Laden, not Team Obama. So you supported what happened on 9/11, and you said it was a good thing. So I know where you're coming from. I just want America to have an opportunity to see you for who you are. You are the enemy of free people. You are the enemy of free people. You support evil and death and demise of innocent people, and you support murder and terror. So that makes you an enemy of freedom.
We can talk over each other. We can talk over each other.
And I don't want your Sharia law, and neither does anybody in Great Britain that has a
You have no choice, in fact, Sean. It's coming to a place near you. It's coming to a place near you.
So you're threatening to come and get me, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the Sharia will be implemented in the whole world.
Sharia is, so that's what you want. You want that, thank you. You've answered my question. You want a worldwide Islamic caliphate.
Of course we do.
You want a worldwide Islamic caliphate.
Alhamdulillah.
And you want Islam to rule the world.
This has been promised by the Messenger Muhammad.
And infidels should be destroyed and done with. Infidels, goodbye.
You will be liberated from the shackles of man-made law. Let me tell you something.
I don't need to be liberated by Islam. I'm a Christian. I don't want your religion. I don't want Sharia. I believe in women's rights.
With drugs,
I believe in freedom.
With prostitution, with gambling, with usury.
Listen,
we don't need this.
Listen, your version of morality is cutting people's heads off you don't agree with. I'll take the imperfections of freedom as they are, but I don't chop little kids' heads off. I don't chop a photojournalist's heads off and say that that's a good thing and that's a way to pay back people that you disagree with.
Have the Jews who are occupying
You support murder, you support terror, you supported Bin Laden, you support evil, and I don't.
In your world, killing children in Gaza is self-defense, isn't it?